Good morning, yogis. For probably most of you, what you'll find this morning is that this is a pre-recorded live stream practice that's normally held at 10:30 in the morning. And the reason for this is that as we're moving into the summer, I'm having more and more things that I want to do on the weekend. And so having the class at 8:30, the live class at 8:30, gives me more time to do those things that I want to do, and hopefully gives you also more time to do those things that you want to do. However, if you prefer the 10:30 time slot, there should be no problem. The class would be available as a pre-recorded live stream class for you to practice at your own convenience. So before we get started with our asana practice, the physical exercises associated with the practice of yoga, I want to today talk for a moment about safety and what it is that we're doing in our asana practice, some very basic things, at least in the physical sense. So you can think of the asana practice like a form of physical therapy. And physical therapy, typically, when we hurt ourselves or injure ourselves in some way, we go to the doctor, and the doctor may prescribe for us to have some exercises that are given to us and perhaps practice together with a physical therapist. And the purpose of this is to try to heal ourselves. So these are exercises that are meant to heal. Now, the difference with yoga asana, although you could think of it as a physical therapy, but it's a physical therapy that we do constantly, not when we are injured only, but to hopefully help us to avoid injury. And so it's very important that we understand how to practice yoga asana in such a way that we don't injure ourselves, because this is not what we're out to do. The first step is to have a clear understanding about what is the goal of any physical exercise. And with any kind of exercise that we engage ourselves in, there are benefits and risks. For example, I like to ride bike. I like to ride my bike, but there are risks. I could fall off the bike and hurt myself in this way, and that's a risk. And so I would like to minimize that risk. And part of that is to be very aware of what I'm doing so I don't hit into things, and that I can avoid accidents that I might encounter when I'm riding my bike. It could still happen, but by being aware, I can minimize that risk. I would also like to maximize the benefits. And so in order to maximize the benefits, there are certain ways that I should practice what it is that I'm doing. And so for most of us, when we think about goals in our exercises, I would say that probably none of us, or maybe very few of us, are doing this to be professional athletes. Mainly what we're trying to do is to be able to exercise our bodies in such a way so that we can live our lives in a comfortable way and feel good and look good as well. And so one of the things that, in my life at least, that I had to overcome was this idea that when I look at videos of advanced yogis practicing, they're doing all sorts of things that I wish that I could do too. And so I might push myself and force things to try to do what they're doing. But on the other hand, is there any time in my daily activities where I need to touch the soles of my feet to the top of my head, or to wrap my legs around my neck? There's really nothing that I do on a daily basis, or that I need to do, that requires me to do this. And so there's a little bit of letting go that we have to have of what is our imagination, what is that driving us towards. Now, how we advance in our practice will, of course, be dependent on how often we practice and how safely we practice. And the fact is that some of us are more flexible than others. It doesn't mean that anyone is better than anyone else. We have a certain kind of condition and natural way that our body is, and some of us tend to be more flexible than others. Some of us tend to be less flexible. And it doesn't mean that there's one way that's better than the other. In fact, for those of us that are more flexible, there are certain things that we have to be very careful about, that we don't overstretch things, that we can injure ourselves in a different way than people that are less flexible might injure themselves. So let's talk about 3 tissues of the body and what it is that we're trying to do and what it is that we're calling stretching. We use this word stretching. I'm stretching. So let's start with the bones. The bones are the physical structure of the body. They're what gives ourselves our stature and holds us up. And so if you think about it, if we were to take all the bones out of the body and just have the other tissues there, then we would look like a ball of jelly. There would be no structure to us. So the bones create the structure. They're the structure of the body. The bones connect to each other with joints. And the purpose of the joint is for the bones to be able to move. And so, for example, if you think about your knee joint, the knee is intended to move forward and back. It's not intended to move side to side. And so what is it that helps the knee, the joint, to move in the way that it's intended? And these are the ligaments. These are the pieces of tissue that connect across the joint and help the joint to become stabilized and for it to move in the direction that it's intended. The thing that I don't want to do is stretch or break ligaments. These are not intended to be stretched. We want to preserve their rigidity, the way they hold the joint together, because when we destabilize our ligaments, we can experience pain and inflammation in the joint. And also the destabilization, especially in the joints of the spine, the vertebrae, where we have many nerves that are projecting out through the spaces between those bones. If they become pressed up against each other, that creates pain. And so we want to preserve the structure of the bones and the ligaments. We don't want to stretch and bend our bones, obviously, as well. So the third tissue are the muscles. And this tissue basically is the thing that moves. The muscles contract, and that's the way they move things. So when I'm moving my arm through the joint of my elbow, I have the triceps and the biceps. And what they're doing basically is the muscle contracts, and that's how it pulls closed. In order for it to open, the triceps need to pull, and the bicep needs to relax. And so it's the muscles that we're trying to release tension of. And this is different than our concept of stretching, because muscles are not like rubber bands. They're not stretchy. They're not meant to be stretchy. They're meant to be tissues that contract. And the problem is that the contraction of the tissues, if they cannot release, this is the thing that we call stiffness. The muscles are not releasing completely. They need to relax and elongate. And through our asana practice, we can actually help to allow the muscles to be trained to elongate even more so we become less stiff. So what we're trying to do in our asana practice is to relieve stiffness in the body. And I've talked about this feeling of stiffness and how it affects our minds and our perception of how things are in our lives. The concept of releasing stiffness to feel more free, to feel more flowing, and to be able to move in a way that's less restricted, which then gives us a sense of freedom. So just to sum things up, what we're trying to do is to release tension in the muscles while at the same time to preserve the structure of the bones and the ligaments. And so when we go through our yoga asana practice, the idea is that we need to relax and to release and not to strain. And so that this idea of straining is something that we need to be aware of, and we need to be able to feel in our bodies and to not overdo things. Because in the end, what we should do is that we've just completed a practice that made us feel more free, more flexible, more relaxed, and not suffering from any pain, not injuring ourselves in any way. So let's get started with our practice this morning. Let's bring our arms to our sides and start to deepen the breath, breathing in for 4 counts, And exhaling for 4 counts. And with the next breath in, let's extend the arms up. Stretch and lengthen the spine. And as you exhale, firmly draw your navel in towards your spine as you lower your chin towards your chest. And let's repeat. Now, raising the right arm, as you exhale, gently bend to your left. And again, move in such a way that it feels good. So again, the idea that I was just speaking about is to release the sensation of stiffness in the muscles. And as we move from one side to the other, perhaps you can feel a little bit of stiffness. And each time we move gently into the bend, we can feel a little bit less stiffness. And we can feel as if we're healing ourselves in a physical sense and not creating pain. Let's begin to twist, extend the arms up as we breathe in. And now as we exhale, turn to your right and come into your twist. Facing the front and turn to your left. And let's continue. Once more on each side. Extend the arms up, lower your hands onto your knees, and we'll do some spinal flexions now. It's very simple. Take a breath in and imagine you're lifting your chest, and as you exhale, tuck. Finish one more cycle. Come to a stop, straighten your spine. Take a moment to become still. It's a very simple movement. Should feel good. Kind of feeling of bliss. And from here, we'll come onto our hands and knees. Centering on your mat, placing your palms under your shoulders and your knees directly under your hips. Take a breath in. Sit back into child's pose as you exhale, firmly drawing your navel in towards your spine. As you rise up, breathing in, tuck your toes under, and press back into downward facing dog. Let's continue with this cycle, moving slowly. And again, as we move through our cycle, we can again feel any kind of stiffness in the body, and also observing that with each cycle the stiffness dissipates a bit. And the principle that we work with here is that as we move in and out of our shapes, in and out of our asanas, we prepare ourselves to stay, finally, in the asana, in the shape, in the posture. And let's prepare to stay now, first in the child's pose. Sit back into your heels and let yourself stay. And as you remain here, simply relax in order to release the tension that might you could think of it as a background tension in the muscles that is there, that we stay in the shape, and it slowly dissipates. So we move in and out of the posture to prepare to stay. And then we stay in the posture and let the posture blossom. Maybe that's a good word. The posture blossoms, it opens. You can even use the imagery of a flower, of blossom that is opening, a beautiful thing to observe, and in the same way, a beautiful thing to observe in the body, the opening, the blossoming. Let's come up onto our hands and knees, and now we'll move into our downward facing dog. And at first, let's begin to pedal our heels, just pressing one slowly towards your mat, and then the other. And again, you can observe any kind of stiffness that you might be feeling, where it is. Not forcing, not overdoing. Moving just to the point where it feels good to you. And noticing that with each cycle that you feel a greater sense of freedom, less tension, physical tension in the body. Finally come to a stop, and we'll stay in the downward facing dog. And here we want to project our bottom or tail away toward the back wall from behind us, and to feel the spine lengthen. Observe your breath. Smooth it out and be still. Stillness and ease in the shape. Let's lower again onto our knees, and from here we'll step the right foot between the hands, moving into a variation of low lunge. As you breathe in, extend the crown of your head away from your body. And as you exhale, slowly move back towards your heel, lifting the ball of the right foot off the floor, pressing it toward the wall that you're facing, and then coming forward. So here we are hinging at the hip joints as we move back, a kind of similar to the child's pose that we were just in the right hip. As we move forward in the left hip joint, we're releasing tension in the hip flexors, in the front of the joint of the left hip. And we can also feel a release in tension in the hamstrings as we move back, because we're lengthening these muscles. Coming forward, tuck your left foot under, lift the knee off the floor. Try to straighten your left leg. This is our low lunge. Staying for a moment. And then stepping back into downward facing dog to prepare for the other side. Lowering onto the knees, we'll step the left foot between the hands. Coming into our low lunge variation as before. As you draw the breath in, extend the crown of the head away. And as you exhale, moving back into the hurdler shape. Again, bringing to mind this idea that the purpose of our asana practice is to make ourselves feel good, to feel a kind of enjoyment in the movement itself, an enjoyment, a healing ourselves, not forcing, just until it feels, the term we use is called the edge. Moving to the edge, meaning that we come to a place where if we went any further, it would stop feeling good. It would feel like there's resistance. The body is talking to us in this way to hold us back from going any further that it thinks would be injured. Coming forward, tuck your right foot under, lift the knee off the floor and straighten. And let's step back into downward facing dog. So with all our postures, we need to be aware of our joints and what their intended direction or movement is intended to be, and our alignment in our postures is to support that direction that the joint is intended to move in, and not to force it to, as if we're forcing it to move in a way that it's not intended to be. Going back to the idea of those ligaments that hold the joints in place. Let's step the right foot between the hands, coming directly into our low lunge, straightening the left leg, then pivoting the left heel onto the floor, rising up, and preparing for our pyramid shape. Let's take the right arm behind and float the left arm up as you breathe in. As we move into the pyramid shape, we again create a spinal extension by extending the crown of the head away and lengthening the spine and slowly folding into the pyramid shape. And then rising back up. And as we move and we repeat the movement, again we're looking to feel a release with each repetition, a dissipation of any stiffness that we're feeling, of the stiffness that we're feeling. Noticing again that with each cycle it feels a little bit easier to move into the asana, and preparing ourselves in this way to eventually stay in the asana, in the posture, in the shape. Extending both arms, we'll prepare to stay now. Extend and fold into your pyramid shape and remain. Smooth your breath out. Square your hips by turning the right hip toward the back wall, the left hip toward the front. So there's a slight, what might feel like a twisting action in the pelvis, but what we're actually doing is straightening the pelvis so it's square. And we're not turning it so that the pelvis, in this case, not turning toward the left, but squaring it so it's facing the wall that we're facing. Or we could say better, since we're looking downwards, that the wall that the toes of our right foot is facing. And let's step back into our downward facing dog. Each of the postures as we go through them creates a deeper sense of release, a release of tension. Let's step the left foot forward into our low lunge. Stay for a moment. Pivot the right heel and rise up. So I'm sure we all have lots of plans in this beautiful day that seems like it's coming along. I can see through my window the blue skies, the sun on this Memorial Day weekend. And thinking that I can't wait to get outside and enjoy the beautiful weather in my neighborhood, maybe taking a walk, maybe going for a bike ride, and to feel free in the physical body, the release of the tension. As I warm up the body in any kind of exercise that I do, there is a degree of that happening. But here, in the practice of asana, the focus is that. Which then prepares us to engage in other physical activities. Sitting is a physical activity, isn't it? Sitting properly. even that. Let's extend both arms, and we'll fold. If I spend my afternoon cooking, and I'm not being mindful of my posture and my body as well, I might experience discomfort in the body. How many of us keep our awareness in the sensations of our body when we're doing other things, like cooking, or sitting and writing a letter, or whatever it is that you do? To be aware, the body is a support or a platform for our sense of being. We actually, after all, live in this body, and we're going to be living in it all our lives. We can't trade it in, and we should take care of it, just as we take care of anything else. Let's come back into our downward facing dog. And we'll prepare for our cobra. Come forward into our plank, lowering down onto your mat, pointing the toes back, tucking the pelvis under. And as you breathe in, extend the crown of the head away, lifting the chest, feeling a release in the front side of the body now. The cobra is intended to release tension around the thoracic spine on the front side of the body. And for that to happen, we need to have a slight lift in the shoulders, rolling them up and back, drawing the shoulder blades inward toward each other, and at the same time breathing deeply into our heart center. Let's take one more cycle. Lowering down, let's come up onto our hands and knees and sit back into our child's pose once more. And as we come into the child's pose, we can take a moment to notice if it feels deeper than it was before. Taking our arms, let's shift them to the right, and we'll come into a side bend in this child's pose position. Firmly or deeply breathing into the left side of your body. And think about your ribs there, the ribs and the space between the ribs connected by muscle. And as we breathe deeply into the left side of the body, we're looking to release the tension around the ribs on that left side. Moving to the center, straighten. And then over to the left, where we'll repeat what we just did. Let's come back to the center, into the child's pose. Rise up onto your hands and knees and press back into down dog. Lowering onto the knees once more. Keep your toes tucked under as you walk your hands back toward either side of your knees. And let's roll the knees off the floor, lifting the heels and coming onto the balls of the feet. Lift your heels and reach your bottom towards your heels. Feel your lower back straighten. Firmly draw your navel in towards your spine. And feel your waist or your navel touching your thigh. We want to keep that there as we lower the heels down. The heels are lowering down. Look at your feet. Make sure they're parallel. And squeeze your ankles toward each other.
Keep the knees bent enough to feel your belly resting against your thighs. Let's place our hands on the thighs and help yourself come up slowly. Rising up and coming into our mountain shape. As we come into our mountain shape, make sure you're not locking your knees. Soften your knees. Tuck your pelvis under so that we rock the pelvis under and press the back of your thighs toward the back wall behind you as your knees remain soft. They're not locked. Our mountain shape, this is active. As you breathe in, try to reach the top of your head up toward the sky. Create the sensation of lift. And as you exhale, firmly draw your navel in towards your spine. The palms are open and facing the front. Notice how this externally rotates the shoulders. And pull your fingers back to feel your palms stretching in front. And notice if you feel a connection between these palms and your heart opening at the same time. From here, we'll step the legs apart and come into a straddle. Bring your legs apart. Make sure your feet are parallel. And let's slide the hands down the back of the thighs to fold forward. Bringing your hands to the floor. Soften your knees so you can hinge at your hips. Draw your shoulders away from your ears and feel space between your shoulders and your neck. And just let gravity lengthen your spine. You can even very slowly shift a little bit, letting gravity lengthen the spine simply by letting go. Now, as you breathe in, come up to your fingertips and lift into a half bend. As you come into this half bend, imagine you're taking your fingers, pulling yourself forward and extending the crown of the head away from your body. And feel how that action makes the spine feel longer. And as you exhale, firmly draw your navel into your spine and gently fold again. Rising up and folding. Rising up and folding. Stay in the fold and walk your hands to the right, straightening your left leg and bending the right knee, feeling a release on the inner thigh now of your left leg. Let's come across to the other side, straightening the right leg, bending the left knee. And now feeling a release in the inner thigh of the right leg. Let's come back to the center. Rise into your half bend and see if you can take your hands off the floor and reach them behind you. Staying here for a moment. And to rise up, push from your heels down into the floor and come back up. Standing upright in the straddle position. Let's extend the arms apart. Bending the right knee, we'll come into our twist now. Turning to the right, bringing the left hand down toward the right foot into our twist. And coming back up as we breathe in. And let's continue. Again, we can observe if there's any stiffness that we feel as we move into this shape. Moving it into it as we've been doing until it feels just right, feels good. Coming to that edge that I just spoke about, where if we went beyond it, it would feel like we're forcing ourselves. So just to the point where we're almost there, but not beyond. So we can still feel comfortable as we move into this shape, a variation of the revolved triangle. Now let's move to the other side, bending the left knee as we turn to this side.
Let's take one more cycle. Now, back to the right side where we'll stay. Come into your shape, and as you breathe in, turn your head to look down at your big toe. And as you exhale, turn your head and look up at your thumb. Let's repeat this 2 more times, breathing in to look downwards, exhaling to look up, inhaling to look down. And now we'll stay with our gaze turned upwards, working now at the navel center. As you exhale, draw the navel in and twist it in the direction of your turn. Notice if you feel trembling or any sense of struggling as you remain here. Adjust yourself as you need to be able to feel at ease. And as you exhale, drawing the navel in and twisting it, observe the flow of your breath. Observe any sense of trembling. And smooth your breath out to move towards a sense of stillness. Stillness and ease, so we can relax. And let the tension in the muscles release. Prepare to come up as you breathe in, rise up, and let's stay for a moment here with our arms at our sides. You can even close your eyes if you like and notice the sensations that you feel. As you exhale, do you experience a greater sense of letting go? Letting go worries and anxiety. Becoming more peaceful and steady. And let's prepare for the other side. Extending the arms apart, bending the left knee. We'll move into our shape and remain. And as you breathe in, turn your head to look down at your big toe. And as you exhale, turn the head to look up towards your thumb. And repeat. Once more. And remain as you did before, and be still. Work with your breath. Notice if you feel any part of your body that's tensing, and let it relax. Notice if you feel any trembling, and smooth your breath out, and move toward stillness. Let's rise up. Lower your arms to your sides. Take a moment here. From here, we'll bring our feet hip distance apart again. Standing, with your hands behind your thighs, soften your knees and slide them down the back of your legs and fold forward into a forward bend. Make sure that you can feel your waist against your thighs as I described earlier, and squeeze your ankles toward each other. Lifting the chest into half bend, and this is similar to what we were doing in the straddle, the fingertips on the floor, pulling as if we're trying to extend the crown of the head, feeling the spine lengthening. And then as we exhale, firmly drawing the navel into the spine and folding. Rising into half bend. Exhale. Fold. Rise into half bend. Exhale, fold. Staying in the half bend, reach your arms behind you and press from your heels to rise up. Extending the arms up to the sky and lowering them to our sides as we exhale. Back into mountain. From here, we'll be moving into our warrior three. We'll take a couple of repetitions moving in and out of it. So bring your palms together, spread your toes apart to help with your balance, and float the right foot off the floor, flexing the heel. As you exhale, hinge, sending the heel back, internally rotating the right thigh, coming into the shape of a letter T. And let's come up, lifting the knee, and move back into the shape. Once more. And this time we'll prepare to stay. Either stay as you are or extend the arms away. Let's rise up, step the foot down, and take a moment to stay, noticing how you feel. Proceeding to the left leg, spread your toes apart, float the left foot off the floor, finding your balance, flexing the heel, extending it back into the letter T, and rising up, extending it, rising up. This time we prepare to stay. Virabhadrasana 3. And you can choose to extend the arms away if you wish. Let's rise up, step down, and take a moment to adjust. We'll come into another balance, raising your right leg, opening the thigh, extending the left arm out. You can choose to extend the leg away. You can choose to hook your big toe if you wish. Let's lower the foot down. Stay for a moment. And prepare for the other side. Floating the left leg off the floor, opening as you did before. Let's step down. Take a moment to adjust. Standing at the front of your mat, we'll prepare to fold forward, sliding the hands down the back of your legs. Fold forward, rise into the half bend, and let's step back into our down dog. Let's prepare for side plank. Come into your plank, either the full plank, or you can lower your left knee to the floor to offer yourself support as you turn to your right. Either legs together or left knee to the floor. Turn to your right. Extend the right arm up. As you breathe in, let's come into a bend. And as you exhale, straighten. Bring your arm to your side. Come into your bend and straighten. Once more. Extending the right arm up. Stay in the side plank, either as you are, or float the right leg off the floor. Let's come back into our down dog. I will change my position so I can face you. Come into plank, either legs together or lower your right knee to the floor for support as you turn to your left. Extend the arm away, bend, the side bend. Exhale and straighten. And again.
Once more. Extend the left arm up and stay, or choose to float the left leg. Let's come back into our down dog. Gaze between your hands, and as you breathe in, walk towards your hands, coming into your half bend, lifting the chest as we practiced. Exhale, fold, and rise up. Lowering your arms to your sides, and coming back into our mountain shape. Prepare for chair. As you draw the breath in, bend the knees, float the arms up, come into your chair shape, and as you exhale, move out of it. Inhale into it. Exhale out of it. Inhale into it, and now this time we'll fold. Exhale and fold. Inhale up. Exhale and fold. Inhale up. Exhale and fold. Inhale up and stay as you exhale. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, lower the arms. Inhale into chair. Exhale, fold. Inhale into chair. Stay as you exhale. Inhale up. Exhale, lower the arms. Inhale into chair. Exhale, fold. Rise into chair. This time we'll stay, working with our breath. Let's rise up, lower your arms, and stay in mountain. Noticing sensation. Standing at the front of your mat, move into chair. Exhale and fold. This time we'll rise into half bend and step back into down dog. Preparing for warrior one. Step your right foot between your hands, pivot the left heel, rise into warrior one. As you breathe in, extend the arms up. As you exhale, lower the arms, straighten the leg. Inhale, warrior one. Exhale, move out. Inhale, warrior one. Exhale, move out. This time we stay. Bring your arms to your sides, interlink the fingers, lift the shoulders, and expand the chest. Firmly draw your navel in towards your spine as you exhale. And as you inhale, expand the chest. From here, either rest your waist against your thigh or move inside of it in humble warrior. Lowering your hands to the floor, step back into down dog. Step your left foot between your hands. Pivot the right heel. Warrior one as you breathe in. Exhale, move out. Inhale, warrior one. Exhale, move out. Inhale, warrior one. Exhale, move out. This time, prepare to stay. Let's bring our arms behind us as we did before. Lift the shoulders, expand the chest. Firmly draw your navel in towards your spine as you exhale. And as you inhale, expand the chest. Either rest against your thigh or come inside of it, humble warrior. Bring your hands to the floor, step back into down dog. Prepare for forelimb stick. Come into your plank first, or half plank, knees on the floor. And as you exhale, move forward, bending your elbows into our four-limb stick. Tuck the pelvis under, lift the chest into up dog, and press back into down dog with your exhale. Repeating into plank or half plank. Exhale, four-limb stick. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, down dog. Once more, plank or half plank, four-limb stick, up dog, and down dog we stay for a short time in down dog. Preparing for warrior two, step your left foot between your hands. Pivot the right heel, extend the right arm out, open into your warrior two. Virabhadrasana 2. Here there can be a slight internal rotation of your right thigh, gently turning to inside. As you exhale, draw the navel in, twisting it toward the back wall. Extend the left arm up, reverse warrior. And as you exhale, place your forearm on your thigh and bring the right arm up and over for extended side angle. Rise into reverse warrior. Exhale into extended side angle. Rise into reverse warrior. And this time we stay in extended side angle. Lowering the right hand to the floor, step back into your down dog. And we'll prepare for the sequence on the other side. Stepping your right foot between your hands, pivoting the left heel, extend the left arm out, up and back, open into your warrior two. Lower the left arm, extend the right arm up, reverse warrior. Exhale, extended side angle. Inhale, reverse warrior. Exhale, extended side angle. Inhale, reverse warrior. And this time prepare to stay. Extended side angle. Lower the left hand down and step back into your down dog. Stay for a moment here. Step your left foot forward, pivot the right heel, rise into warrior two, then straighten your left leg and begin to hinge, reaching away and preparing for triangle. Lowering the left arm, extend the right arm up and turn your gaze toward the sky. Lower your right arm, bend the left knee, rise into reverse warrior, and prepare for half moon. Hop your right foot forward, floating your fingers down to the floor, possibly on a block, and floating the right leg off the floor, externally rotating the thigh so the toes are pointing toward the side that you are facing now. Using your balance, we'll be coming back into reverse warrior. And as you exhale, swing your arms over your head, lowering your hands to the floor, step back into your down dog. Step your right foot between your hands, pivot the left heel, open into warrior two. Straighten the right leg and begin to hinge again. Lower the left arm, extend the right arm up, reverse warrior. Exhale, extended side angle. Inhale, reverse warrior. Exhale, extended side angle. Inhale, reverse warrior. Exhale, extended side angle. lowering the right arm, extending the left arm up and turning your gaze up toward the sky into triangle. Lower the left arm, bend the right knee, reverse warrior. And as you exhale, swing the arms over the head, hands to the floor, back into down dog. Let's come onto our knees and sit back in child's pose. And let yourself become still. Let's come up onto our hands and knees, crossing your ankles, and take a seat into our easy pose. Let's extend our legs forward, coming into staff pose. Then bend your left knee and bring your foot in to touch your inner thigh. Take your hands and pull the flesh of your bottom away to expose your sits bones. The right knee can be bent so that the spine is erect and we're able to rock our pelvis forward. Extend the arms up and gently fold as you exhale by extending the crown of the head away to lengthen the spine. Folding gently, rising up as you breathe in. Exhale and fold. Rising up. Exhale and fold. Rising up. And we'll fold. The hands might fall onto the shin, onto the floor. They might gently rest on the toes. As you breathe in, lift the chest. Think of this like a half forward bend. And then draw your navel in toward your spine to exhale into the fold. Inhale, lift the chest. Exhale and fold. Inhale, lift the chest, and this time stay in the bend. Janu Sirsasana. Rising up, lower your arms, straighten the spine, and switch the legs. Again, you can take the flesh of your bottom and pull it away, exposing your sit bones, bending the left knee as much as you need to rock the pelvis forward, straightening the spine. Extend the arms up as you breathe in. Gently fold as you exhale. Remembering that the ligaments that I spoke about earlier cross between each of the vertebrae of the spine. And so these are especially ones that we need to be mindful of. I think most of us are very mindful of knees and elbows and so forth, shoulders and wrists, but maybe not so mindful about the spine. Think about what we're trying to release, which is tension in the hamstrings, not in the lower back. So we want to try to straighten the back. As we hinge, as you breathe in, lifting the chest, exhale and fold. Inhale, lift the chest. Exhale, fold. Lift the chest once more, and now we stay gently. Let's rise up, lowering the arms and extending the legs forward, coming back into our staff pose. Let's bend the knees and come onto our backs. And we'll prepare to move in and out of bridge. Rest the back of your head onto your mat and draw your heels towards your bottom. Feet are hip distance apart. As you breathe in, lift up into bridge, swinging the arms up and back behind you. exhale, and lower down. Repeating, rising into bridge, exhale and lower. Rising into bridge, exhale, lower. This time, leaving your arms at your sides on the floor. Lift your hips up, externally rotate the shoulders, and see if you can link your fingers underneath you and staying in this bridge. Let's lower down. Take a moment to relax. Let's draw the knees into the chest as we exhale. And as we inhale, extend the arms and legs out. Exhale and tuck. Inhale, extend. Exhale, tuck. Inhale, extend. Exhale, tuck. Stay. And then lower the feet down. Knees are bent, feet are on the floor. And from here, we'll come into a twist. Take your right leg and cross so that your ankle is pressing against just behind your knee. And the right knee is kind of gently pressing away. We'll lift the left foot off the floor, interlacing the fingers behind the left thigh, and extend the left leg up. Try to flex the left heel, the left foot. Press the heel up as you press your pelvis down into the floor. And then bend your knee 90 degrees. Release the leg and bring your arms out to the sides. To come into the twist, look at the sole of your right foot, and you simply want to turn your hips to bring the foot down on the floor. Turn your gaze in the opposite direction, and take your left hand and place it on your right thigh. As you exhale, draw the navel in and twist it toward the sky, and gently push the right knee away from you. Don't overdo it, just gentle. Now we'll take the right knee and gently draw it down toward the floor, still churning the navel center. Let's come back up. Place both feet on the floor so we can prepare to twist the other way. So we start again, knees are bent, feet are on the floor. This time the left leg comes across the ankle just behind your knee, and we're pressing the left knee, or just moving it away. Lift the right foot off the floor, lace your fingers behind your thigh, flex the heel, press it up toward the sky as you press your hips down into the floor. Let's bend the knee 90 degrees, bring your arms out to the sides, and look at the sole of your left foot. So imagine you just want to bring this sole of the foot without moving the legs at all, so they're still in the same place, and we're simply bringing the foot down on the floor as we turn to face in the opposite direction. And again, we churn the navel center. We'll take the right hand and place it just behind the knee and gently push away, gently. And then gently draw it down toward the floor. Notice how the twist feels a little bit different when we do that. Let's come back up. Place your feet down. And this time we'll tuck and try to bring your forehead to touch your knees. Get a nice tuck. Release it. Straighten your legs out, reach your arms over your head, and take a few deep breaths and stretch, tucking the pelvis under and lengthening your spine. Arms to our sides, and let yourself relax for Shavasana.
Just bring your attention to your breath. And with each exhale, let go. Just notice how the body feels. When we go for a massage, the masseuse kneads the muscles, rubs, and after we're done, we feel kind of like a glow or a aliveness in the body, a spaciousness in the body. And notice a similarity in what we're feeling now. So you could consider that yoga asana is a combination of physical therapy and massage. A form of body sustainability. And again, what I mean by that is that we're in this body for the long haul. We can't trade it in for another one. Now, there's not really spare parts for the body, although you could argue there are things that can be done in modern science, but in medicine. But for the most part, that's not something that we want. It's something we might have to do if something is failing. And what we want is for the body to be healthy. And to feel good to live inside of. To be comfortable. To feel a sense of stability in the body, balance. To be body aware, so that our awareness is not just through our eyes and our ears, but into the body too, feeling the body. The body has a knowledge, it has a knowingness in it. And whether we're aware of the sensations of the body or not, those sensations influence our state of being, our state of mind. Just like having a car that is clean and beautiful to observe, responsive, versus having a car that is full of trash and unmaintained, not as responsive, maybe breaking down sometimes. Our bodies maintained, sustained. So that we could live a life of enjoyment and contentment. Let's begin to wiggle our fingers and toes around. And the legs and arms. And from here, roll onto your right side and slowly come up so that we can rise up in our seat that we started in. Thank you for practicing together. And I wish you a very beautiful and joyful day. Shanti,
Namaste, peace, I bow to you.